It's part 8 of 100 ideas for your gap year. And today we're going to be talking about social justice activities so that you can infuse your gap year with opportunities that make the world a more equitable and just place for everybody. First things first, it is an election year, which is an amazing time to focus on political volunteering as part of your social justice work. So this can mean working for candidates on campaigns that you align with or reaching out to issues-based organizations that are working on getting out the vote around an issue that you really care about. I would also recommend that you not dismiss local and kind of smaller down ballot candidates because a lot of times you can get pretty great volunteer or internship or sometimes even staff positions on these campaigns. And the great thing is, if you're taking a gap year, that means you have the summer and fall to work on a campaign and the rest of your gap year to dedicate to other issues or other activities that you may want to do. So, political volunteering or getting involved in the vote this year, please do it. We need you. So, a great way to utilize a skill set if you're a native English speaker is to tutor or work with people who are refugees and are working to learn the English language. Sometimes you can help volunteer to help people with their citizenship tests, or sometimes you're more working on helping with that English proficiency. So you can reach out to local community centers that might be doing this work or local resettlement groups that help connect people who want to learn the language with people who want to teach it. If you're an artist, consider focusing on art for social change during part of your gap year. I just was reading an article about a young adult who got a fellowship to work on public art around social change issues in Philadelphia. And I thought that was super inspiring. So, whether you are creating art that you're selling, whether you're creating art that is going to be viewed by the public, or whether or not you're doing a show at a local coffee shop or gallery, think about how to express yourself and your values through art on your gap year. There's so many ways to be focusing on social justice while you're traveling, but one that I really love is thinking about if you're interested in business or microfinance, working with communities that are selling and exporting fair trade goods. I had a student a few years ago who worked with such an organization in Guatemala, and she was a really talented photographer. So she was taking pictures of products that were locally made by women, and then that was going to help them sell it online and internationally, and it was really helping them build their business. So if you have a skill around photography, around social media, around writing and editing and things like that, that can be utilized all around the world to great use. So think about that for sure. If you're interested in criminal justice reform, you can do several things. You can potentially go and sign up to volunteer in prisons to do different types of workshops or literacy outreach, or perhaps you're working or interning at a law office that works with overturning wrongful convictions, things like that. So dig into the issues that you really care about and think about the ways that you might be able to utilize your time and build your skill set around that issue. If you're really focused on climate change and climate justice, I would suggest looking for your local 350.org organization. That's Bill McKibben's climate action groups. They do political organizing. They also do more localized action items, but it's a great place to start for looking for opportunities. If you're an ally of or a member of the LGBTQ plus community, there's so many ways to get involved, whether locally or while you're traveling. If you're local, one of the easy suggestions is to go to your local Pride Center and you can learn about the events and ways to volunteer in your own community, and there are usually many. If you're traveling, then you may be looking for Pride Centers in the places you're going or seeking out other ways to get involved in those communities abroad. And be sure to share your experiences when you're home so that other future travelers know what to expect in that location, in that destination. If you're interested in racial justice, there are so many organizations that are doing important work. So look in your local community to see who is active. Obviously, there's big national organizations like Black Lives Matter, and a lot of these organizations are going to be activating around the election. So see if you might be able to get involved in that way. Seeking asylum and refugee status is not unique to the United States. So you can help asylum seekers here in the States, and there are also refugee organizations operating worldwide, many of them in Europe actually, doing direct service to people who are seeking asylum. So those organizations will often take volunteers for longer periods of time. So if you want to commit to a longer term volunteer stay with one of those organizations, that can be a really, really meaningful way to spend some of your gap time. If you're interested in learning and thinking about how you might put good into the world in your life and career, you may also consider a gap year semester program that helps you contextualize several different issues in different locations. So some of these programs are abroad and traveling around to different locations. Others are place-based here in the States or international, where you're kind of focusing on immersing into a community. But either way, if you have leaders and program facilitators that are giving workshops and helping you learn about these issues, you're going to understand so much more about them and how to create that positive change. So that's another really great way to get that information so that you can learn about what you're most interested in and where your strengths lie. Either way, these are all ideas for you to think about for your gap time, because we need change makers and we need people to be using their gap year to put that good out into the world. So